Ladies and gentlemen, today is another day. This is the chicken doctor himself as usual, and I thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel, which is the chicken doctor himself. And thank you people of Uganda, people of Kenya, people of Zambia, and everywhere, because I always see you commenting and you're subscribing. Thank you very much. Today we are going to talk about a number of things, starting with the outside of a poultry house. What things must you consider? Then after that, we are going to look at inspection of poultry houses. All along we have been looking at the deep litter setting of a poultry house, but today we are going to just look at a little about a deep litter house. Then we go into the battery cage system. But just keep subscribing, tell your friends to subscribe, keep viewing that YouTube channel. Thank you very much. As we have already learned from our previous videos, that the ventilation of a poultry house is very key. This is how you can see it. You can look at this house, that from here up to the top, it is just mesh to allow free entry of air for the birds to have perfect ventilation. It is only this part which is closed. You can use bricks, it can be wood, it can be iron sheets, but always make sure this part is fully open, this side and the opposite side of the entire poultry house. That is very key, and always make sure it is like that. Then it must be to a farmer to make sure always you remove the webs. Don't allow these houses to be clogged with a lot of webs and dust, because these can also affect the aeration of the house. That is very key. It is always a good idea to have trees around the chicken house, because they help in the providing of fresh air. The freshness of the air is too good, but there are things which you must take into consideration as a farmer. One, make sure the kind of trees you have are not fruit trees. They must not be like mango trees, pineapple, things like guavas. No, they must be non-fruit trees. The reason is fruit trees will attract a lot of insects, a lot of wild birds in your place, and this will come with a lot of infections like Newcastle, like Gumboro. So you want to have a place which does not attract a lot of what? Fruit trees. And also those birds will come with a lot of noise. So always avoid fruit trees. Have trees like this, which don't have fruits, but also can do the issue of refreshing and providing shade and freshness to the poultry house. So every morning or afternoon or any day, when a vet doctor or a poultry farmer, when you come to your farm or to a farm, it's always good to do inspection of a farm. But the mistake which very many people do is they start by going into a poultry house. That's not right, because chicken are very attracted by any external things. For example, if they see you entering the house, what they would do, they would turn their attention to you, which is to affect your observation. So it's always very important to start by observing the house. we have the drinkers. This is where they drink from, and this is what we call an automatic drinker, whereby as the bird is drinking, you will see that this water will just keep refilling as it drinks, it refills as it drinks. So very many farmers relax. They will be like, since I have an automated system, I don't need to take care of the water. But that's not right. Remember, we have said the first step is make sure that tank is very clean. The second step is that this tube is clean by flushing. Then the third step, these birds are not, they have some things they always look at. For example, as I told you earlier, that they are attracted to red and yellow colors more than anything. That's why these drinkers are made up of the red color, just to attract them. But also another thing about chicken is that they are always not so good at drinking water that has been exposed for more than 2 hours. So if you have a deep filter system like this one, every 2 hours just come, shift this, get off this exposed water, let more water flow. You can do some cleaning. Also, get this exposed water to allow fresh water to flow. Okay? Birds will always be interested in this fresh water. You see? So they were not drinking the water, but now they are coming to drink just because the water is a bit more fresh than the way it was. So that must be a very important aspect, because remember, as a farmer, the more water a bird will take, the more eggs you get, because water forms the highest percentage of an egg. And also it has a lot of importances like cooling the bird, boosting immunity, digestion. So once you do that, the amount of water intake by your chicken will increase day by day. Another important aspect of a deep litter house is what we call a laying nest. This is where the birds will lay the eggs. So I always tell my friends that they should bring their kids to poultry houses so that kids can see where eggs come from, so that they don't think that eggs come from the tray. So eggs, this is where they come from, and this is what we call a laying nest. So the birds will enter inside here and they will end up laying eggs inside. Then if your work as a farmer is to periodically come and collect these eggs from the laying nest, because this is a manual system, you have to get the eggs from there yourself as a farmer. So there are things you must take into consideration when it comes to a laying nest. One, it must have litter like this. The way this floor is, that's how the floor of a laying nest must be. It must not be a bare wood. It must have litter. So make sure always your laying nests have litter inside. Then a laying nest must be dark. It should not be so open. A bird should not see another trying to lay an egg, because it will lead to a condition called vent pecking. Because as we said, that birds are attracted more by the red color. So as the bird is trying to lay, the egg does not just come out and falls down, but there is a membrane here. You cannot see it very well, but there is a membrane which is a bit pinkish, which will bring the egg, drops it down, then it retracts back. So if the laying nest is having a lot of light, another bird will be able to see the other one when it's laying, and to peck that, blood will come and will cause a lot of pecking. So if you have that problem as a farmer in a deep litter setup, always try to reduce the amount of light by putting some curtains so that the birds can access it, but that light is too dim inside the what? The laying nest. Then on top of a laying nest, since most of the time it must be slanting to prevent birds from sleeping here or from standing here, you cannot have a lot of litter here. You can't put, because even if you put, it will always end up falling down. So it must be the responsibility of a farmer to make sure this place is clean. Don't allow droppings to dry onto this, because we want these droppings to be at the floor for the litter to absorb droppings, to absorb water from it, to prevent infections like coccidiosis. So always make sure you get a broom or anything. Make sure it is always clean, no dust, no droppings. That would be very good for you as a farmer. A farmer, when you are inspecting a poultry house like this, you have to use all your senses. You have to use your eyes, to look at the way birds are. You have to use your nose to smell the house. How is it smelling? Is it always like that, or this time the droppings are smelling too much? You have to use your hands. You touch the birds to feel, are they heavy, are they weak? Then you have to also use your emotions. Look at them, see, are they active? So you have to use all your senses when you are observing a poultry house. Then when it comes to the eyes, said always look, are they active or not active? Another aspect you have to look at are the droppings. Just look at the droppings. You must be knowing as a farmer, how does a normal chicken dropping look like? So if you look at this, this is an example of a normal chicken dropping. You can see that it has a gray part and a whitish part. This white part is what we call uric acid, because chicken do not urinate. So they bring out that white uric acid. That is the form of urine. So most people say, my chicken are having some white droppings, but this white is normal because it is a form of urinating. Then any other dropping apart from something like this is abnormal, or is reported to a vet to come and tell you what is right. For example, you can see this dropping here. This one is not so clean, so it's not so good. You can see this one is not so good. So I will make another video which will be explaining on the different types of droppings, and what, if you see black, if you see yellow, if you see brown, what comes to your mind as a farmer. But now inspect, knowing how a normal chicken dropping looks like. So any deviation from the normal should signify that something is not right. So get a vet to sort you out. And one of the most important elements of a deep litter house is the floor. Very many people don't take care of the floor, but it's what makes the deep litter house. You can see that this house, this place has very good floor because the litter is very good. I think you can see it is dry. That is very key. The litter must be very dry. If it's not dry, there will be no water absorption from the droppings, and automatically this is going to come with the place being so moist, going to bring a lot of ammonia, and the house is going to be a mess. Birds are going to suffer from infection just because of the flow. So always maintain your house to be like this, so that even chicken can play around from this. That is a form of cooling to them. And also the place will be clean. Your birds will be looking good than having a place which is so muddy, so moist. So always avoid that. And if you don't maintain good litter, the way it has been here, if you don't have this kind of litter, you are going to have this kind of litter. I think you can see. This is caked litter, this one, and this is going to be a problem. So as a farmer, what you do, always rake. You get a rake, you pull this one, put it where there is no litter, and remove all these, because they are going to end up being a problem to your deep litter house. As I explained, that the placement of your laying nest will affect how the birds will perceive it. Sometimes birds will refuse to lay in some laying nests and choose others according to how comfortable they feel. For example, look at this nest. No chicken is laying here. There must be a number of reasons why, but one of them must be excess light here and also absence of litter. So they will always avoid such a nest and choose to go to a nest like this one here. You see that this one is full, but the other one is empty. Here the light is limited, and also the place has good litter, so it's comfortable. So birds always choose comfort, not anything else. So always make sure you get a professional to guide you on where to place your laying nests. Otherwise, birds will refuse to lay inside and find other places where they can lay eggs, which is not so good to you as a farmer. Now, after seeing the deep litter setting, this is another setting called the bird tray cage setting, whereby the birds are not on the litter, on the floor as we have seen. These ones are in separate cages. There you can see these cages. They don't get in contact with their droppings. Once an egg is laid, it will just come down. So you don't have to go inside to remove the eggs. Eggs will bring themselves here. So your work as a farmer will just come and collect eggs from these places like this. So it is easier. It is an improved form of the other one. It is, first of all, it's labor. It is not as labor intensive as the other one. So this one, you need a few workers, because all what you have to do is to get eggs from here, give feed, but the water is automated, as you can see. And this one, the birds are easily observed. You can inspect the birds. You can know that this bird did not lay, the other one did. For example, here I have 3 birds. If I see one egg, it means only one bird has laid. But the other end, you cannot know which bird did lay, which one did not lay. So this one is a system which is being adopted by very many farmers, but it also has its advantages and disadvantages, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. What are the benefits of this over the other one, and then what can you do? What are you supposed to do when you are in a house like this one? Because we have seen inspection of the other house, so we must see inspection of this house as well. That's what we are going to see today. So if you're a farmer and you own a you own a bird tray cage system, you must also know how to inspect it, because it's different from a deep litter we have seen. So always inspect your houses as I'm going to guide. 1, water. As a farmer, make sure your water system is very clean. And first of all, start with this. This must be cleaned. Always let this filter be very clean, and you can easily see through. That means all the dust, the clogging is clean. Then we have this system which is responsible for moving the water. That system must be also very clean by flushing at least once a week. Then we have this called the cisterns. These are the water cisterns. Many people don't wash these, but this cistern must be washed clean every day. A cistern is washed every day, but the flushing happens every week. So once your water system is clean, then you are safe as far as water is concerned in a bird tray cage. it very fast, not to attract things like rats to come in the evening to eat feed, which will come along with a lot of infections. So once your feed and water is set, then you are good to go into other things. As I have said, since you have the cages, don't relax that everything is okay. These feeders must be washed at least once a week or 2 weeks. Remove these coatings, and sometimes some feed will cake on the bottom of a feeder. Always make sure you clean so that the feeder is clean at least 2 weeks. But don't just leave the feed there all the time, like forever. You don't clean the feeders. Feeder must be also be cleaned. Then also you remove these webs, get time and clean. Don't leave it just the way it is, or is also clean that. So that's how it can be done. So for this farmer, you can see another aspect he did. He named, for example, this one is CL328. So he knows that now this, if a bird is sick here, you can come and record just for recording purposes, so that you know exactly what is happening in each unit of a poultry house. So this is another advantage compared to what was in a deep litter, where you couldn't tell which one is which. But here you can easily tell CL328, CL329, so you can know exactly what is happening because it is a cage. So many people have been asking also that what are the advantages and disadvantages of this system over the other than we saw first. Someone will ask, why would I go for this, or why would I go for the other one? So here is when a farmer must know which one is which. I will start by something like labor. The other one we saw first is labor intensive. You need more workers because they have to serve feed manually, collect eggs manually, rake the house, give water, so it becomes so intensive in terms of labor. This one does not need a lot of labor because eggs just flow, so you just have to move around and collect. It's not as the other one whereby you have to go yourself into the laying nests to get the eggs. That's one advantage. This is not labor intensive as the other one. Another advantage of this one over the other one is when you talk about observation or inspection. Inspection will be easier for this one because each bird is in its own unit. For example, we have seen CL327, CL328, CL329. So it becomes very easy to know which bird has a problem, which one is sick, which one did not lay eggs, which unit is not doing well, which unit is doing well. But the other side, since they lay in the same place, you cannot tell which one did not lay, which one is sick, because they always mix. Another thing is spread of infections. Most infections start from the droppings. A cage, birds will be far from their droppings, so don't expect a lot of transmission of infection compared to the other side where birds are on their droppings, so transmission is very easy. For example, I'll take an example of these ones being in a local down, that each one is inside, yet the other are mingling elsewhere as if it's in a concert or something like that. So attachment of each bird with another is very easy in the other system, leading to spread of more infection. Another thing is hygiene. This place is very easy to maintain hygiene. That's why the eggs are very clean. You can see the eggs are very clean compared to the other, which are even having some droppings on them. So you have to clean again after collecting the eggs. Another advantage is space. Since many places are becoming urban areas, land is an issue. Land is very hard to get a big land just to do poultry. So people have small pieces of land, and that's where they want to do their poultry. This place takes a lot of birds. For example, only this house has over almost 6,000 birds. compared to the other whole house, which is the same size, but it has just 3,000 birds. So you can do as 2 times as many birds you are doing here compared to what we are doing the other side. So space is also another important factor when it comes to battery cage. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the disadvantages of the battery cage. 1, droppings. The droppings of a battery cage are almost like human droppings because there is no litter, so they add up and make something which is not so good to a farmer. So unless you have an idea of what you are going to use that dropping for, or we are going to deal with them, it becomes a problem, especially for people who live in urban areas, whereby your neighbors will complain of the bad smell. So I'll make another video showing you how you can deal with the droppings of the chicken, but that must be in your head. Another thing, chicken in cages always suffer from a condition called cage paralysis, whereby they always require a bit more calcium compared to the other than in a deep litter. So you get a lot of chicken which are lame, some are down. That's because of an issue of needing more calcium. So as I have said, they need a lot of calcium, and if you don't give it to them, some of them can end up like this. This is a bird which cannot walk, cannot move, just because these legs are affected due to inadequacy of calcium. So this is what we call cage paralysis. So it can be so severe. So as a farmer who is dealing in cages, always give an extra calcium. Also, it's a good practice to supplement with liquid calcium and amylite at least once in a week. Why? Because you will be providing vitamin D and liquid calcium from external sources, which will affect your flock. So take care of that. If you don't, you have problems. If you look at this chicken, these chicken are fine, but if you look at here, all these were too sick, but they're just recovering. All those in the corridor are recovering just from the same condition. So it's a serious conditions when it comes to battery cage. Okay. The problem with the cage is the strangulation. That sometimes a bird can end up fixing its head here and it ends up dying. Sometimes they fix below and ends up dying. So as a vet, or a farmer, you must be able to do a post-mortem and tell that this bird did not die of infection, but was just a strangulation, or it did not die of anything else, but just an accident. So that one also happen a lot. So another problem the people in the cage face is what we call the fatty liver syndrome. This is when it comes when a bird is using less energy than what it eats. So a lot of excess energy stays, the bird becomes it develops a lot of fat, and you end up with other problems that are associated with fatty liver syndrome. But all those can be controlled if you get the guidance from a vet or a professional. And also you will be seeing these in our continuous videos from the YouTube channel of Chicken Doctor himself. Just keep watching and keep subscribing. Everything you will be taught. So dear farmers, and very many people are watching us from all over the world, thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel, the Chicken Doctor himself. And also thank you for viewing our videos. This is just the start. We will continue giving more and more educative videos, on farm practical videos, so that you can also look after your chicken without coming for training, but just at the comfort of your home. Thank you very much. This is still the Chicken Doctor himself.